massive fire destroyed the old 5-story building and caused severe damage to several nearby stores.
And thank you for joining us here at the Weather Channel. I'm Warren Madden, and we're taking it on into a Christmas Eve morning. And unfortunately, I have some bad news to report. If you were planning on driving across Tennessee and North Carolina and into northern Alabama and Mississippi, you are faced with icy conditions. The air temperature at the surface just below freezing. The air temperature a couple of hundred or 1,000 feet above the surface, above freezing. The rain falls as liquid into that cold air close to the surface. If it spends enough time in that, it freezes and falls in the form of sleet. If it doesn't have time to freeze while it's in the air, it hits the ground and freezes once it hits the ground, be it roadways or your stairs outside your house or your sidewalks or walkways. So be very careful outside. Make sure that you are prepared for slippery conditions. Leave yourself extra time to get to work, or if you have to do any shopping last minute, be prepared here anywhere from North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia, westward into Tennessee, and then ducking down in toward the Mississippi River. The reason why that air above the surface is warmer than freezing, well, look at where it's coming from. It's coming from out of the Pacific, across Mexico, and then sweeping toward the northeast all the way up in toward the mid-Atlantic and the northeastern United States. And so when we look at the expected travel conditions through mid-morning on Thursday, you see that beautifully. You can see that southwest to northeast trend, and notice the stripe of cold, of icy precipitation, the pink, running right parallel to that flow of air. South of that, it's warm enough at the surface so that we're falling as rain. North of that, once you get up in toward Washington, D.C. and heading up toward Philadelphia and New York City, we're talking about it falling as snow. Watch out for some fog also in that warmer air around Atlanta, heading up toward Greenville, and then certainly down into Florida, where you saw temperatures on Wednesday quite mild, certainly not like much of the rest of the country, but you will be dealing with a lot of fog around Orlando and Jacksonville and Daytona Beach and even over toward Tampa, and even New Orleans seeing some fog through mid-morning on Thursday. The only windy trouble we have to worry about, that is here in the northwest, where another storm coming ashore, starting off as snow around Seattle and Portland before the warmer air pushes in from the Pacific and brings those snow levels back up into the Cascades. So you might be dealing with some slippery conditions in and around the Puget Sound and Columbia River areas through your day on Thursday. Let's turn our attention to those temperatures. Arctic air still gripping the majority of the United States. with temperatures well below average, and these are below the December averages, so that tells you that it was definitely a cold day on Wednesday. Only 10 degrees in Denver, made it up to 24 in Kansas City, struggled to 21 in St. Louis. If you like the warm weather, where were you going? You were going to Florida. 80 in Tampa, 81 in Miami. As for the low temperatures as we press on into the day on Thursday, it once again will be below zero and well below zero here across the northern plains and Rockies. And the only place it'll be really mild is going to be in southern Florida, where temperatures won't drop out of the 70s. Now, I wish I could tell you that things were going to improve here across Tennessee and North Carolina, and if you live in western Tennessee, I think that will bear out. But farther eastward, here in the southern Appalachians, oh, just a very messy day for you on Thursday. The ice looks to continue because there's nothing to change things. The flow of moisture still coming up out of the southwest. The temperature contrast still there, cold at the surface, warm above. And so anywhere you see the orange, right on through the afternoon hours, we're looking at the chance of freezing rain, freezing drizzle, sleet, very dangerous driving conditions. That'll be moving mostly into North Carolina, northern Alabama, and central Mississippi and northern Louisiana as we move into the evening hours. As I mentioned, we'll be dealing with a new system coming into the northwest, so although you'll start off as snow in Seattle and Portland, again, as the warm front sweeps over you, you'll see a change to rain and the snow levels will rise up into the Cascades, and it is going to be a breezy day, so please be careful on the roadways. As far as the snow totals go, well, heaviest amounts will be in the western United States. Not too much here, maybe 1 to 3 inches anywhere from West Virginia reaching up towards southern New England. Not quite to Boston, or close to, but not quite. More likely down in the southern suburbs, heading down toward Walpole and Foxborough and Providence, Rhode Island through mid-morning. But let's look a little closer at the western U.S. Notice we have it right down to sound. So Seattle, you could be seeing several inches of accumulation before that switch over to rain through mid-morning on Thursday. High temperatures on Thursday. If you don't like cold weather, you can't take much heart out of this math, where the 20s pressing all the way south to Dallas and toward Austin, 30s even as far south as Houston and Brownsville. Head to Florida. That's all I can say. At least there you'll be in the 80s once again in Miami and heading toward Orlando. Let's look farther out into the holiday weekend now with your extended outlook.